Alrighty, CAA fans, Griffin Della Penna back again for another CAA Insider episode in here with a very special guest who's been very busy over the last few weeks, UNCW head coach Takayo Siddle. Coach, thanks for taking the time and being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's always a pleasure to be on and talk with you guys.
Like I said, it's been very busy for you, but I really want to focus on your win in the CAA tournament and then being on the national stage in the NCAA tournament. So we'll go back to your time in Washington, D.C. And, your programs over the last few years have been in the championship round. They've been knocking at the door. So what were those emotions when you're heading into that championship game against Delaware?
Yeah, we probably had a different approach than every other team that was in there. I would assume. We didn't put too much pressure on any game that we played in. We really focused on ourselves, and we wanted to make sure that mentally we were in the right headspace. We wanted to make sure that everybody's spirit was up, our energy was in the right place. We just really wanted to have fun with it. And so going into that championship game, I wanted the guys to be extremely loose. We were in the locker room dancing before the game. We were having a really good time, and I think we were really loose. And so when you watch that game and Delaware came back on us and they made their run, we didn't flinch at all. We were really calm and we felt like it was our time to make it happen.
And how did that previous experience really help you guys in that win, 76-72, to hoist up that CAA trophy that's standing behind you, and those emotions for you as a coach to get over that hump and win the seventh in program history?
Yeah, I think just going through the tournament a couple times and having some success and failing at the finish line and just reevaluating everything that we did leading up to it. I thought that was really important. And then talking to some of my peers and guys that I trust and respect that have won championships before, just getting some ideas from them on how to prepare a little bit different and to just going through it a couple times as a head coach, it really put things in perspective a little bit more. Like I said, we wanted to go up there and be extremely loose, extremely confident. And I thought we were. Just the emotions. I don't even know if I've been able to really enjoy it and really sit back and just think about how special of a thing it was that happened. um, it's definitely a weight off my shoulders, and me and the staff being able to climb up there and cut the nets down finally. It's gut wrenching when you get there and you lose it back to back years, but it's definitely worth it. To finally get it done.
You certainly deserve to feel those emotions now. So I hope that certainly sets in here in the off season. But even though I'm new to this conference, I've known about the UNCW fan base and how much they care about this program. So, what did that championship mean to this community when you returned from Washington, D.C., and even now over the last month?
Yeah, it was a special feeling. If and you say you know a lot about our fan base, and they traveled with us. I think we probably had more fans than anybody there, which was special and expected. But it meant everything. When I first took over the job, Kevin Keats used to always tell me when the men's basketball team is doing well, it's just a different vibe in the city. It's just a different vibe around campus, and that's true. Um, you know, the air feels a little different. Everybody's smiling a little bit more. Everybody's doing great. The energy's just different around here, and it meant the most to me to be able to bring the championship back to Wilmington because I know how much it means to our fan base and our donors, the university. I know how much it means. So it was definitely refreshing and fulfilling for us to be able to do that.
And the CAA, it is a different perspective because you have so much time until selection Sunday. So leading up to that time, what were you and the team doing to prepare? And then once it became selection Sunday and you knew you were going to play Texas Tech and go to Wichita, just the experience in the program, hearing your name called.
Yeah, we took it easy. We wanted to make sure they got some rest, and we wanted to enjoy what we had done. So we did that, and we got on the practice court a little bit and had some really tough practices, and we were excited to be in the position that we were in. But we wanted to go into the tournament and make a run, and unfortunately we didn't. But that was our mindset. But we had fun with it. We prepared like champions, and Selection Sunday was special. That's something that I dreamed about, just from being an assistant here and going through it. And when I was able to, when I was fortunate enough to get the job here, I said, man, this is special. Like I want to experience this with our fans and our students. And so just to walk in there and see the crowd, and when our name was called, that emotion, the emotions that I felt, man, was, really undescribable.
That was a good watch party too. Like comparing it to the rest of the country, UNCW's was towards the top. So later that week, you travel to Kansas, and you're there about to face a really talented Texas Tech squad. What were you telling the guys to, again, maybe have that same mindset that you did in the CAA championship and during your run, but then also really just taking it all in and soaking up what being in March Madness really feels like?
Yeah, no, it was a couple different layers to it. We wanted to enjoy it, so we wanted the guys to be able to take pictures, and we wanted them to buy gear. We wanted them to really soak it all in. And when it was time to get down to business, we did that. We wanted to prepare to win the game. We knew that going into it, playing Texas Tech was going to be a challenge for us, but that was one that we were up for. But we had previous experience playing against Grant McCaslin's teams. We played him in the Bahamas a few years back when he was at North Texas. And so I wanted to prepare the guys just for the physicality and the competitiveness and the toughness of that game. And I thought our fight was there the entire time. We just didn't make enough shots, but what an unbelievable experience it was for the guys in the program.
And how would you categorize your performance in that game? You were right in the thick of things, only ended up losing by 10 points. Like you mentioned, though, maybe not hitting as many shots there late, but most of the time when you see these mid major programs, it's not that close of a game that was getting a lot of attention nationally, of a game that potentially could be an upset.
Yeah, I would say early on, I would say we were a little starstruck. I think the bright lights kind of got to us, but when we settled in, like I said, I thought our fight was there. I thought our toughness was there. I thought we matched their competitive nature. Um, we out rebounded them. And when we look back at the 50-50 balls, we were even with them. I thought if we would have just made a couple more shots, we would have had a chance to win the game. They had a young man that got hot and made a bunch of threes on us. And I don't think he played well the rest of the tournament, but it just didn't go our way, but I was very proud of everything that we were able to accomplish this season.
In this new age of college basketball, when you return home, it's much different than what it was before. And now you're trying to retain guys and rebuild your roster. So, what was that experience like for you as a coach? Of, yeah, we just had our season end, and now we're already looking forward to the 25-26 season.
Yeah, well, I think every successful coach and every coach that's not complacent that wants more, I think that's the process that you go through. You enjoy the season for sure, but now it's time to get back to work, and that's why I say I haven't been able to really enjoy what we've done. We met with the guys that were on the current roster to see what they were going to do, and then we immediately started working on building this roster up for this upcoming season. So it really wasn't time to enjoy it. It was right back to work.
You've been hitting the portal hard as well, again, rebuilding this roster. What should UNCW fans be looking forward to in this upcoming team?
Well, I've always said when I came here, we wanted to be a championship contender every year, and that's our mindset. I know it's not going to be easy for us to repeat, but our mindset is to come in here and be a team at the top that's competing for another championship.
Well, Coach, I hope that you now have some time to enjoy this championship, continue to be looking in on what UNCW does here in the off season, and then it'll be very, very soon that we're talking about basketball again, and the season going to be here before you know it.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me, man. Thank you.